John LeBanc Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised. Ladies and gentlemen, and I am going to do my best to remain calm, keep my voice at a mild temperament, so as to not make you feel as if I'm yelling at you, because I think sometimes, because I'm very animated, I tend to come across as if I'm yelling at people, and I don't want to do that right now, because we have a serious issue, and even though it pains me to continue to highlight it over and over and over, it just isn't going away. We have so many people that find ways to separate us, to divide us, to segregate us. This set me off because in a recent post I had mentioned, see the whole Oprah Winfrey. Can you tell already that they're already setting up Oprah Winfrey? This is the mainstream media, that is. They're already setting up Oprah to go up against Donald Trump. You see, the people who are... Boy, I hate using the right and left in this kind of conversation, because to me, it's all to the left. But to most people who speak the politically correct version of speech these days, think of left and right as Republican and Democrat, conservative, liberal, so on and so forth. But see, I look at it a lot different, and to listen to the John LeBanc Show, you have to understand where John is coming from. And sometimes that takes weeks and months, even years. But I don't think so for most people. I think most people get my drift pretty quick. And we see now that the left, who thinks that Donald Trump was elected because of his rock star status, and they're now, you've been seeing it, they've been talking about who's going to run on the Democrat side for president. I mean, it's only a year into the election, or into Trump's administration, and we're already, I mean, now it's 3 years down the road, and we're already being inundated with this. And the left, who, like I said, I don't like to say left and right, but the left in the terms of the current political structure, the Democrat side of things, think Donald Trump was elected because of his rock star image and his manhood and all that sort of garbage that had nothing to do with the core issues of why Donald Trump was elected. And I'm hoping that there are some Democrats that'll listen to this with a thinking mind, drop all their preconceived notions of what they think the Trump base was for the election, because there were people who voted for Donald Trump who didn't particularly vote for Trump himself, but they either voted against Hillary, who was the representation of the establishment, and that's at the heart of the matter. Trump wasn't elected because of Donald Trump. Trump was elected as a stopgap to the swamp, as he would put it. But it was to the whole elite structure that infests the halls of government. And here the Democrat Party, and you can see it, it's clear as day. They think by throwing up another rock star, or in this case, an actress, a talk show host, to run for president up against Trump, that's going to get the people reunited behind their cause. And they miss the point. You see, Oprah Winfrey is just another form of Obamaism. It's part of the swamp. She is part of it. The American people are not going to see her as the stop. They thought that with Obama, and it didn't turn out so well. And I'm thinking there might be some people who voted for Trump who are still waiting to see if he's going to come through on his campaign promises. So when you talk about the things of why Donald Trump was elected, it is not going to be the same reason why people are going to want to vote for Oprah Winfrey. You'll start see, and this is a thing that we're going to start seeing, especially if she becomes the nomination for the Democrat Party. If you're going to criticize her, because I did the other day, if you're going to criticize Oprah Winfrey, people are immediately going to claim you're a racist, even if there is nothing racist about your comments, because that is how that side of the aisle works. They think in terms of race. So it actually boggles my mind, ladies and gentlemen, when I hear these people from the left, and again, I'm speaking from the current political structure left, not the left that John believes. Because if we go by the terms of John, the Republican Party is to the left of the Constitution, and the Democrat Party is to the far left. They're in the realm of socialists and communists. But we are speaking, because I'm trying to talk to you in terms that you will understand, we are speaking in the current political structure. So when we look back at the whole reasons why Donald Trump was elected versus why the Democrat Party thinks Donald Trump was elected, there's a big gap there. They don't understand. The people who pushed Trump over the edge to where he won the vast majority of districts in the country. And if you eliminate California from the entire picture, it is such a bad landslide throughout the country, it's sickening. And some people don't want to remove California from the picture. We can't. But when you take in their political affiliations as a state and how strongly they're in one camp, and then how many electoral votes they get, well, it makes that a very powerful state, a state that could, with the help of New York, really dictate the entire direction of the country. And to the people on the left, that's okay. See, they don't particularly care about their political opponent's well-being. As long as you're for their programs on their side, they love you. It's not the same on the other side. There are so many factions on the other side of the political aisle. See, I'm not even part of that other side as is, defined by the political structure. I'm not part of the right if you're talking I'm a Republican, because I'm not. I wouldn't want that R next to my name if I ran for president. To me, it's a tainted, it's like the D. I don't understand the allure in having that D next to your name as a political figure or a just common person who votes. Why would you want to be a Democrat? Why would you want to be a Republican? See, they talk about how these groups increase your voice, but they don't. And that is another lie. This is why I have a problem with the average person who are going to see a Oprah Winfrey, and I've already seen it. They're going to see an Oprah Winfrey, and just because she's Oprah, they're going to vote for her. They don't care if she's qualified. They don't care that she'll have the finger on the nuclear weapon. They don't care what other leaders of the world are going to think of her. Nothing. They don't care of any of that. As long as she's got that D next to her name. Because Oprah's a D. She's not going to be an R. Do you really think Oprah Winfrey is going to be an R? And remember this, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who have forgotten, Donald Trump didn't just decide he was going to run for president this time around. There were talks for many, many years about him running for president. And one time, he had mentioned that Oprah would be a good running candidate.
Well, I really haven't gotten quite there yet.
I guess
Oprah, I love Oprah. Oprah would always be my first choice.
See, he was good friends with Hillary. And now you can see that he was good friends with Oprah Winfrey. See, when they talk about Trump being so different and so on the other side, see, that's all a game. Because when you tally up Trump, for the most part, he's a social democrat. For the most part. That's it. But because he has that R next to his name, he's hated by the people with the D. I can tell you now, if he had a D next to his name, he could be saying the exact same thing, because that's the problem with everybody in the D over there. It doesn't matter who's running, whatever they say, whatever they do, even if they did the same thing as the R used to do or the R is doing now, they are okay with it when their guy is in charge or when their gal is in charge. But if it's their political opponent, that it's heresy, it's treason, they're Hitler. They throw all these things at him, all these charges at him, hoping one or the other stick. And even if they don't stick, they know it's going to taint them going forward. We're up against a break. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Be right back.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Listening there. Don't go anywhere. The John LeBang Show is going to be right back. Just ask the hillbilly.
That's right. Right after this.
What about me? Maybe next time.
CRRM, CarePoint Billing Services. Their billers and managers are all dedicated to working for you to increase your profits. For more information, call CRRM at 248-579-3805. CRRM, CarePoint Billing Services.
Check out the new book from Derek Shelmerdine,
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It tells the story of rock and roll from its roots right up until the mid-'70s punk.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Not just the music, but also the events that shaped the music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
It includes the backgrounds to recording sessions, singles, album releases, births and deaths, epic concerts, and festivals.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Shelmerdine has made a painstaking effort to document pretty much every event that would prove significant in shaping popular music.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Purchase the book at www.rockandrollunraveled.com. Follow him at Twitter at R&R Unraveled, and look him up on Facebook at Rock and Roll Unraveled.
Rock and Roll Unraveled.
By author Derek Shelmerdine.
Available now.
Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning. For a beautiful, sparkling shine that's crystal clear, call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass.
You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
Join the radio revolution right here.
It's better than some good Thai stick, man. Yes, I would like some too.
You know, and I don't know if I'm making my point clear to you, ladies and gentlemen. So I may stick on this for a little while until I feel I've said all I can say. But just because the rock star Donald Trump got elected doesn't mean that's what the people want. We didn't want a rock star. The problem is you in the Democrat Party offered us Hillary. Probably the biggest dirtbag in all political history. My opinion, many others' opinion, but regardless of that, she was dirty. There were scandals after scandal after scandal that she had been involved with for her political career during her husband's presidency. We had the Me Too'ers back then. Jennifer Flowers, Monica Lewinsky, all these ladies were coming out accusing Bill Clinton, and there was Hillary Clinton viciously attacking these ladies and defending her husband.
What difference at this point does it make?
People went to vote for Hillary in the past election, knowing these things happened, knowing the list after list after list of scandals that she had been involved with.
What difference at this point does it make?
Her disastrous Secretary of State run.
What difference at this point does it make?
It boggles the mind. But because she had a D next to her name, it was okay. And the problem with the country is that's how it's working now. They have divided us. And I can tell you that speech the other night, no matter how inspirational some people thought it was, and to people who can inspire themselves, maybe it was. But what I heard was a lady setting up a presidential run and setting up an even bigger divide in the country than we've already got. Because what's going to happen is the first person who criticizes Oprah Winfrey on anything is going to be labeled a racist, a bigot, a male sexist. That is going to be the level of charges brought upon anybody who criticizes her. And because of that fact, people aren't going to have the guts to criticize her. They aren't going to have the guts to expose her. And I'm talking in the mainstream media. But the big guys aren't going to take those kind of risks. The backlash would be tremendous because everybody is afraid of doing anything anymore. We won't be able to date, ladies and gentlemen, in the future because of the way things are being set up now. Women can accuse men without facts, without any evidence, years and years and years and years and years down the line. And it doesn't matter if it's true or not. All they have to do is accuse you, and that can damage you enough to the point where it could destroy your life. See, in the old days, back in the good old days of America, that would be called slander, and somebody would get sued for it. But now you can't sue people who are making false allegations against you. And I'm not saying all the allegations are false. What I'm saying is that it's very easy to accuse somebody these days, and we're just supposed to believe every woman accusing a man of sexual misconduct. But the problem is, what is sexual misconduct? A guy asking a woman out on a date, flirting with a girl, is not sexual misconduct. And even if it is unwanted, as far as that, you tell the dude, hey dude, I'm not interested. It is to the point where you can just accuse somebody of anything. They can look at you wrong, and now you're accused of sexual whatever. They felt uncomfortable around you. You know, there are things I would really like to say about this, but again, you get some serious backlash if you say some certain things. But if this continues, I'm going to, because somebody's going to have to speak up. It's not that every man is a sexual predator, and not every advance a guy makes on a woman is sexual misconduct. Sometimes, I mean, that's the law of nature. You like somebody and you try to go out with them. That has happened for I don't know how many millions and billions and trillions. I mean, as long as mankind has existed, ladies and gentlemen, that is how things have happened. And you get the liars out there, the big lie out there that men are so bad. And they forget. All you have to do is go look at the old movies, ladies and gentlemen. It's that simple. Go look at how guys were in the old movies. There'd be one woman surrounded by, 7 or 8 or 9 guys wanting to date her, and they were all doing their best. None of them were pushing her around. They all wanted the attention of the one girl. Problem is, I think where most of this is coming from isn't coming from the girl that got the attention. Like that, anyways. You see, men adore women. There's a random idiot out there, the random piece of garbage, but you get the same averages in women. I'm getting emotional. I'm trying to keep it down, folks, because we don't want to scare the new listeners. I had one person on a video, I'm a jerk, because I was very forceful in expressing my opinion about something. That's my show, I can do that. But I don't want people thinking I'm yelling at them. I have a strong voice and it can sound like that. And I can get quite animated, so it can sound like I'm yelling. I'm already upping the level already, and I've got to bring it down. We don't want to scare anybody off, ladies and gentlemen. We want people to feel like they can come to the John LeBang Show think about the things we talk about, go research them, maybe even enjoy a few of the comedy bits, and in the end, they had a good time and they might have learned something small. The divide that is going on because we've got a group of people that will not see the other side. They don't even want to. See, we, for the most part, who didn't like President Obama's reign in office, there wasn't a whole lot we could say because any opposition, you would get the race card thrown at you in a heartbeat. Boom, racist, racist, racist. Even if you didn't bring up anything at all. But that's because the people on the other side of the aisle are the true racists. They're the ones that think in terms of race all the time. And because they think I'm on the right side of the aisle, they think I'm their political enemy. And what I try to do is try to just slap people a little bit and say, hey, what you believe, you might want to reconsider that. You might want to check into that because you're only reading from a certain category of publishers that all have the same agenda, and you're not getting the other side of the story. Maybe you don't want the other side of the story.
What difference at this point does it make?
But if we're going to have a world where all of us can live in peace and harmony and be able to have a fruitful life without the disturbances of other people, then we've got to stop this Democrat-Republican thing. We've got to stop the conservative and the liberal thing, the progressive thing, and that thing. And we got to sit down and stop talking about race, because there's only one race on the planet, and that's the human race. One race. That's it. And we have human problems to deal with. And any certain certain issue that deals with a segmented group, that still does not trump over human issues above all. In other words, women's rights do not come before human rights. And human rights are the only thing that really matter, because women's rights are wrapped into human rights. And if you would quit segregating yourself, you might not feel so divided and apart from the rest of the people. And you might not want to hate the rest of us because we're some other group that you somehow have gotten in your brain that you have to hate. Because something divides you between the two. And you rather focus on what the diversity is versus what unifies us. That's not what we focus here on the John LeBang Show. We either unify us or I slap you in the face and tell you you're stupid. Be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Listening there. Don't go anywhere. The John LeBang Show's going to be right back. Just ask the hillbilly.
That's right. Right after this.
What about me? Maybe next time.
Fans, do you need a video for your brand new song but don't have a lot of money? Then contact John LeBang. His reasonable rates, professional look, and fast turnarounds will help get that song off the ground. Contact him at jlebang.com.
Please allow me to do a little bit of self-promotion. If you are enjoying what you're listening to tonight here on the John LeBang Show and want to know more, then please go to our website. That's www.jlebang.com. You can find archives of the show there, see who the upcoming interviews are, maybe check out which radio stations we're on, see maybe what the show prep is. You can find out all of that, maybe even vote for your favorite band, or even listen to some small comedy bits, or find out about the Bangerverse. It's all there, right on the website. Now, if you want to contact us, there's one quick and easy way. You can email us at jlebang@live.com. Please follow us on Twitter at John LeBang, and when tweeting about us, use the hashtag Banger. Now, if you're on Facebook, please like our page at The John LeBang Show, because we love it when you like our page. This half hour is brought to you by Pane and the Glass commercial and residential window cleaning. For a beautiful, sparkling shine that is crystal clear, call Pane and the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass.
Powerful, epic music by Toot Box Roll. Life-changing lyrics come in every style, empowering humanity to finally unlock the chains of bondage. Experience the edgy side of positive music and rock your world today. From Primal to Divine, available now at sassyalternativemusic.com.
Hey man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
Forces of darkness, the treasonable maggots who collaborate, must, can, will be wiped from the face of the earth.
So now everybody's upset over what Donald Trump might have said, probably said, somebody said he said, who knows what he said, we don't know, we're just having secondhand information. And even if he said something about Haiti and Africa, he's allowed to have his own opinion and allowed to say things. I mean, we do have a First Amendment that allows us to say what we want, speak our opinion. If we don't have that right, somebody please tell me, because that's going to jeopardize my career path here, you know? If I can't speak the way I want. And what's the big deal if he says that Haiti and Africa are holes? You know, can you argue with him? Or are you just mad because he said it? See, that's what I'm thinking this is all about. People are just mad because, you know, he said something that he thought was truthful, and it got people all riled up, and that becomes headlines, and that seems to be a common theme in the mainstream media, is they now are reporting on things he says here and there. They're just trying to point out that this guy's this thing and he's that thing, and just because a person makes a statement about a country or two or a continent doesn't make it racist by any means. Because I could say, oh, let's see, how about Francis turning into a, S-hole? That's the big deal. You know, he says that, and then you get everybody in the mainstream media think they can use that word now. It's funny, I used it last week, and I bleeped myself out a few times out of sheer humor. I just wanted to add a little levity to the show. And boy, we get a week of it after that. Trump supposedly says it, maybe says it, I don't know who says it. See, this is, again, does it matter? Why does it matter that he thinks that these two places are that? Are we not allowed to say these things anymore? And because it's about immigration, and maybe he doesn't feel bringing in more people from those countries are beneficial to our country. He has the right to have that opinion. And he is the president, so, he has some level of say-so. Yet because somebody got offended over it, and this isn't really disparaging towards the little person in Haiti or the little person in some tribe in Africa. It's pretty much a condemnation of the governments that run those countries, if there is even a government. And if they don't have, in certain parts of Africa, they don't have, solidified governments that are in place that have a political structure to it. It's warlords or whatever. Well, those parts of Africa, I would say, are maybe not the glowing, shining example of African genius and beauty. So maybe that's where he was pointing his reference to, places like Sudan. I mean, we're not in these meetings, right, ladies and gentlemen? And if he's just throws out the random expletive, and you can point that out to the public, hey, Trump said this during the meeting, and of course it can be taken out of context, because they love taking things out of context. Sometimes I think it's the job of the media to take things out of context so they can manufacture that news that they produce each and every night for you to consume, for you to digest, so you can have those little seeds planted in your brain that certain people are certain ways, even though there's very little evidence, and if there is evidence, it's manufactured evidence. That's, it's where we're at. And I fear that we're not going to wake enough people up. And in fact, I've almost given up on the hope that the American people are going to wake up and figure out that it's just a big game that's being played. They're little pawns in the entire thing. And when it's your turn to be taken off the board, that's it. And they pin us against each other. Speaking of diversity, they found every way to segregate us. And for the most part, we've found ways to segregate ourselves so that we have a diametrically opposed position from another group, another segment of the population. Segmented segment. That's a real small segment. That's like everybody inside the LGBT community. I mean, there's so many letters to that now. Hopefully I got them all right. But that's a segmented group. They have their own little segments inside their little segmented group. That's where they've placed us all. They've tricked us all into doing that, and instead of us looking at the common reasons why we're a country. So when Donald Trump says something and they expect you to eat it up and then to go out and be mad about it, just realize that they're doing this on purpose, and they give you these little snapshots, they being the media, specific segments of certain political parties that want to shine light, want to become relevant or stay relevant. See, a lot of this goes back to Oprah. She's now, she does the movie, she gets the little award there, she does her speech, because this is all to set up her presidential run. She wants to make herself relevant again. And the way you do that is you start getting out in the world a little bit more, and you start doing things to put you in that position. A lot of people think Oprah's a great person. I see her as somebody who twisted people's emotions, who got them to cry on her show just so she could get ratings. Then she could make money from those ratings. Maybe it was a great idea. For television, it was great. You know how many people love Oprah Winfrey? And what they didn't know is they fell for a mass hypnotic trance that she had propagated on everybody watching her. She used the power of emotions to tap deep into your subconscious to make you think that she is some wonderful, special person who is there for people. Almost diametrically opposite of how they are portraying Donald Trump. And I'm speaking about the mainstream media. See, this is all being set up. See, Oprah is not Hillary Clinton. Oprah doesn't have the baggage Hillary Clinton had. And wouldn't the Democrat Party like to? In fact, they would love to be the party to say, hey, we selected the first female president. They love those firsts. Doesn't matter if they're qualified. We saw that with Obama. I mean, the guy was he was an organizer is all he was. A community organizer. And because he was good at being a community organizer and he was very calculated in his speech, and people wrote great speeches for him, you buy some good speech writers, you're all set, folks. Able to get where he went. And now he's, that's funny, Trump has to cancel his trip because preceding Trump everywhere seems to be Obama. It's the strangest thing ever, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you've paid attention to this. This is just a sub-story that I've been watching. But everywhere Trump is planning on going, Obama precedes him. He's in front of him. A couple weeks, a month, whatever. It's a very, very interesting development. It's hard to tell what he's doing there. You get a public appearance, but you don't know what they talk about behind closed doors. And I know I kind of went off topic a little bit there, folks. We're up against a break here, so I didn't want to go too deep into anything else before we, have to pay the bills. Don't forget to go to our website. That's www.jlebang.com. We have a link there called Show Prep. You can click on that link and find out about the subjects we're reading about, we're discussing here on the show. Maybe you'll have a different perspective from what you're used to in the mainstream media. We leave those links up there for a long time, and in fact, a lot of them have been up there for years because those links are very important. And so we don't want people to forget that those articles were published. Because people tend to have a 4 or 5, maybe 6 minute interest span before their mind has to go somewhere else. Anyways, folks, break time now. 4th segment coming your way. Please stay tuned.
Where do you think you're going?
The John LeBang Show will be right back.
So grab a beer and a smoke and sit your butt back down. Stay right here.
If you are elderly, disabled, receiving SSI or Medicaid, and you have a medical need or require assistance with daily housework, shopping, grooming, medication, you may qualify for housekeeping at no cost. Call now, VIP Home Healthcare, 248-579-3805. VIP Home Healthcare, there when you need them. That's 248-579-3805.
If you want to contact the John LeBang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John LeBang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John LeBang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
So a family in Texas who was trying to avoid the evil flu bug this year vaccinated their child, and that poor child suffered a major reaction. Apparently was hallucinating, trying to run off, just some crazy stuff. 6-year-old kid. And all the parents were trying to do were trying to keep their kids safe from this year's extremely bad influenza attack. In fact, it is so bad, it's affecting people here in Detroit. Federal authorities say 20 children have died from this influenza attack. And 7% of the senior deaths that last month are blamed on this year's virulent strain. Now, all of that prompted Metro Detroit Beaumont hospitals to take a very unusual step this past week, and that was to ban all children under 13 until the flu season subsides. So no kids are under 13 are allowed to go to the hospital. Michigan is one of 46 states with widespread influenza attacks. They call them infestations. That sounds delightful. The symptoms of this flu include fever, cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, muscle aches, chills, fatigue. We've all had them before. But a few patients may suffer vomiting and diarrhea. Isn't that just lovely? I know that's what you're tuning in to hear about here on the show, ladies and gentlemen. There's a point to me bringing this up. Patients with especially severe cases have been crowding emergency rooms almost nationwide. Everywhere but, get this, Hawaii and Washington, D.C. Just keep that in the back of your mind, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes showing up with high fevers after becoming dehydrated by failing to consume enough liquids, according to the CDC websites. Now, if you are feeling the flu coming on, one thing you have to do is keep hydrated, because you can get really, miserable if you don't keep yourself hydrated, because then you can get severe fever. This year's flu vaccine is only, get this, about 32% effective. Whatever this strain of flu that just mysteriously attacked us this year and is hitting like a wildfire, everybody's getting it. The vaccine that they have for it is only 32% effective. And on top of that, you take the risk of your child, at least your child, maybe they're just too small for this dosage that they're giving them, but whatever the reason, you take the risk of your child having hallucinations, wanting to run off, vomiting, puking. Hey, that's all good. But it's interesting that Hawaii, the home state of BO over there, and Washington, D.C. are being missed. Hawaii, you could say, well, they're cut off from the rest of the nation. So less chance, the weather's not as bad in Hawaii. Sure, we can go with that one. But why isn't D.C. getting it, or going to get it last? It's interesting. Maybe there's some correlation there. Maybe they have better health care there. Maybe their vaccinations are better in D.C. They are a different part of the country. In fact, they're not one of the 50 states. People tend to forget that about Washington, D.C. They always assume that D.C. is part of the country, but technically it's a separate entity from the country. The United States is a conglomeration of sorts, a merger, a peace treaty between 50 nations. And the District of Columbia is not part of that. It is not one of the 50 states. It's a separate entity. So maybe they're like Hawaii. They're safe because they're not part of the country, and the influenza strain that is so virulent this year is only making the rounds through the United States and its allies. It could be discriminatory that way. You never know. Then in other, good news for D.C., they collect a record amount of income taxes through December, which is great. Although they are still running a $225 billion deficit. So they're going the wrong way still. Not too bad, I guess. 225, that's only, what? In 4 months you'll get to $1 trillion? That's not terrible. Remember when $1 trillion was a big deal And that over like 3 or 4 years of deficit, that was a big deal. They would freak over $1 trillion. Now it's like, we'll do that in 4 months. Who cares? Pfft, big deal. No big deal at all. We'll just run deficits. And the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. They don't care. See, the Democrat base out there is going to complain. The Democrat leaders are going to complain that the Republicans are running a deficit. They're worried about that now. They weren't worried about that during the Obama administration. No one has ever worried about that when the D's next to the name of the guy running everything. Nah, that's all right. Shoot, hey, it's cool because, you know what, that deficit is needed because we need to spend on programs that, that are part of our agenda. See, if people could just get past all that and just understand that, hey, that's all it's about. It's cool if you're a Democrat and you want to have major deficits and spend tremendously. Hey, it's even cool if you start a war and you bomb in more countries than your predecessor. That's cool. Once you're done and your opponent now is running everything, now it's not good. No, can't run deficits, can't bomb anybody, can't say anything, because that's all bad. That's all bad. I'm getting a little, as you can tell, the old John kind of slides out. See, I'm very cynical about the political arena that we currently have to endure. Most of these people up there on the Hill in Washington, D.C., they don't give a rat's cahoot about you, me, or anyone else. They love it when you vote for them. Oh, they love you then. As soon as they get those votes, that's it, we're done. Obamacare's a perfect example of that. Republicans, since 2010, were elected. I mean, the numbers were incredible, like 1,000 seats across the nation after the 2016 election. So between 2010 and 2016, there were like 1,000 seats that had changed into Republican hands. One of the biggest promises were to get rid of Obamacare. Get rid of it. Well, guess what? We're still a year later, 11 months later, almost a year later, into the Trump administration. Obamacare's still there. Sure, we got rid of the mandate through the tax. But see, they can write it right back in once the other party gets control. See how this game's played? It's like the executive orders. You don't like executive orders? You wait till you get your guy in there. He'll just get rid of the executive orders that the last guy did, put in new ones, and then as soon as the new guy switches out and you get an even newer guy and he's back to the other party, he can just get rid of those and write in new ones. It's a stupid game. It shouldn't be that easy. And it's dangerous for a country to keep shifting back and forth. Boom, boom, boom. And that's because we're so divided. So we've got to take the hard lines on the left and then the hard lines on the right. And everything else, if you look at it, is the same between the two parties. They want to control the money. They want to tell you how it's spent. They want to tell you what, when, and where to do with whatever of your life. Control your life. You think the Republicans don't want to control your life? They're just not as bad as the Democrats. Doesn't mean they don't want to control your life. Look, we got Sessions up there worried about pot. All of a sudden, now pot's a big deal again. Pot's a big deal. States nationwide have either legalized it, legalized medical marijuana, whatever, right? So the will of the people is saying, hey, let's legalize this stuff because we can make some money at it. And who cares what people do in their own house? We don't care. No. Fed's got to say, hey, wait a minute. Our federal law says that. So we might come after you guys. The will of the people and the will of the states don't matter. It doesn't matter. And you think the Republicans want to give you more freedom than the Democrats? They just want to take less from you is all they want to do. That's all. The Republicans want to just take less freedoms from you than the Democrats do. See, the Democrats will tell you, no, that's not true. But it is true. Because the Democrats, what they want to do is take it away from you and then give it back to you with conditions. Standard operating procedure. Obamacare, perfect example. Before Obamacare, before any of this healthcare stuff, if you wanted healthcare, you'd go get it. If you wanted health insurance, you'd go get it. If you couldn't afford it, you couldn't afford it. They said, no, that's not good enough because the people that can't afford it aren't getting the healthcare. Okay, so what do? They take something from everybody. They take the healthcare system, and then they offer it back to you with stipulations. These people get subsidies. These people over here, I know you can't afford it, and I know you don't really particularly want to buy a health insurance program, policy, so we're going to fine you for it. So that way we can pay for the people who want the health insurance policy but can't afford it. We know you can't afford it, but because you can't afford it and you don't want to follow the rules that we set, we're going to force you to give us a bunch of money. In fact, we're not going to force you. What we're going to do, we're going to withhold your income tax that we already take from you. We know we don't have any obligation to that money. That's not our money. But we already take a bunch from you. We're going to then, when we return some of that back to you, because we are nice about it, we do return some of that money to you. When we do return, we're going to return less because not only could you not afford health care, but because you can't afford health care and you don't want to take money from somebody else because we'll give you we might give you a subsidy. That depends. You don't actually fit the criteria. But anyways, since you don't fit the criteria for the subsidy and you don't want the subsidy and you can't afford health care, we're going to fine you. So that way we can pay for the people that do fit within the boundaries of the subsidy and can't afford health insurance on their own. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We've run up against that clock here in the first hour this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit. Hope you at least saw my point of view as far as what I'm seeing in the manufactured world that we are forced to live within. Don't forget to go to my website. That's www.jlebang.com. I want to thank all affiliate stations and, of course, you, the listener, for giving me 60 minutes of your time. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, this is John LeBang signing off from the Banger Studios.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,